And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fourth and final segment, which is talking about some general news stories around the league, just some minor claims and kind of stuff like that, just some around the edges stuff. But I do like that part of baseball. I like talking about it, and I think it's important for roster updates with teams. So whenever there is a good amount of news for a day, I will talk about it, and that is today. So yeah, let's get into it. First off, we have the Brewers. They claim Vladimir Gutierrez off waivers. I think it's a nice move by the Brewers here, getting some more pitching depth. With the injuries you've already suffered, I think that Gutierrez, even though he isn't the best player, could provide some valuable depth down the road, and I think is capable of making a spot start or two for the Brewers. So not really too much to look into here, with Gutierrez kind of being a around the edges kind of player, but I thought was a good addition by the Brewers, and I thought was a good claim by them. So yeah, there we go. Another addition by the Brewers is them signing Francisco Mejia to a contract. Now, I do like this Mejia signing a lot, actually. Mejia's with the Angels originally, but then got released to pursue other opportunities, and then went to his old team, the Rays, who then released him, and now they will be signing. Now he is signing with the Brewers. Now, I assume that Mejia will fill in as the third catcher on this Brewers team. They outrighted Eric Haas, and I think they probably will release him eventually. I think he's a good player, and I don't know if he should be kind of rotting in AAA, so I think that Mejia provides more of a ceiling for the backup catcher role. He's younger, was a former top prospect. Maybe has something still left in the tank, which the Brewers could see. And you have Gary Sanchez as your solid backup behind William Contreras, of course, who is a star. But he does have some injury risks. He doesn't field the best. So I think bringing Mejia is kind of an insurance policy for that. And it's just an overall a good addition by the Brewers, in my opinion. Just some more depth by them. I think they've done really well with depth over these past few years. And if I was a Brewers fan, I'd be happy about this move. I think it's a solid one. Nothing too crazy, but your teams need stuff like this. So yeah. Next, we have the Orioles. They traded Diego Castillo to the Twins. So a really interesting move by the Twins here. They lost some infield depth, of course, with Royce Lewis going down. So I think that Castillo could potentially be a bench bat or a guy you look to call up if you are in a pinch. You've already lost some depth, and I think bringing him up would not be the worst thing in the world. Now, they just signed the reliever, Diego Castillo, a few days ago, which I also thought was a good move. So as MLB trade rumors reported it, they are cornering the market on guys named Diego Castillo. So maybe that's something that's of their interest, maybe signing guys with the name Diego Castillo. I'd say it's a pretty common name, so maybe they can get some more. But overall, I think it was a good depth move by Diego Castillo, by the Twins. Got Diego Castillo on the brain. I've said that more times in this segment than I have in my entire life, so wow. But yeah, I think it was a good depth move by them to fill in around the edges. I think with the Royce Lewis injury, you need as much infield depth as you can get. And it doesn't look like Brooks Lee will be coming up for a little bit, so I think having Castillo there is a good addition. He's been passed around so much this offseason, going to teams like the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, the Yankees, Orioles, of course, Pirates, and now lands with the Twins. I might have gotten one of those teams wrong, but he's been on most of them, which is crazy. So, yeah, hopefully he can find a home somewhere. I feel bad for the guy. He was a former nice prospect for the Yankees, was okay with the Pirates, but really needs to find a home, and I hope he can stop bouncing around. Some Yankees news here. First, we have Jonathan Loaizaga landing on the 60-day IL with a arm injury. Now, these are never good, especially for a reliever. You never want your relievers to have some kind of arm injuries like that. So, yeah, definitely not a positive here if you are a Yankees fan. So, yeah, not great. And usually these kind of injuries get worse over time, I should say. You obviously don't want that, but we just saw it with Yuri Perez. He's getting worse over time. So, yeah, I think that Loaizaga was going to be a big part of their bullpen this year. He obviously had a lot of injuries in his past, and I think he was looking forward to a big first season. So, a big season back from injury. So, yeah, definitely not a great thing here, but you're hoping that it doesn't become worse. But he's already been placed on the 60-day IL, so this is why you have depth, by the way, people. This is why your teams get depth. This is what the Yankees do well. They just signed Phil Bickford. They traded for Jake Cousins, two fine relievers who I think will be good in his place. So you always need depth, especially for relievers with how volatile they are. So unfortunate for Johnny Lasagna, who was hoping to have a good season, but you know, can't always get what you want, and baseball's a tough game. Injuries are happening all the time. The Yankees signed an old friend, signing Rougned Odor to a minor league contract. A really fun thing here. I like this. Rugi's been such a fun player to watch over his career, been a really likable player as well. He bounced around from the Mexican League to the NPB and is finally finding a home back with the Yankees. I think he should be up at some point this year. I think it's just good infield depth for them. Again, the Yankees are good at depth, and I think Odor brings some solid here. A good lefty bat who can still hit righties relatively well, I think. I don't know if he can play defense, but I think this is a guy you could bring up for 5 or 6 days as a bench bat when someone gets hurt. DFA him after, and he'll go on his way. But I think it's nice for him to finally get back in the big leagues a little bit. And good for him that he is going back to the Yankees, a team that obviously values his assets and his skill set. So a fan base that also likes him as well. So the Diamondbacks have activated Randal Grichuk off the IL, where he has been since opening day. Should be a good addition to their team. Will be a nice platoon with Jock Peterson for the DH role. They had Jose Barbosa coming up from AAA, kind of filling in that role, but I think Grichuk fills it a lot better. He's hit lefties consistently over his career and did it well over last year as well. So I think it's going to be a really nice DH platoon in the desert here with him and Peterson. So yeah, should be a nice platoon there. I think is a good addition for this Diamondbacks team, and happy for him to come off the injured list. Next, we have some Padres news. According to John Heyman of the New York Post, the Padres, first of all, would like to add Tommy Pham, but would like to stay under the luxury tax, and so they would only have $2 to $3 million to offer, and they would also like to keep some money for the trade deadline, so we'll see what happens there. But I still think Pham goes to the Padres at some point. I don't know how they'll do it, but it just makes too much sense for me not to happen. They need another outfielder. Pham needs a place to play, so yeah, definitely looking at the Padres as a fit for Tommy Pham. I still think he's a very good fit there, and I think that it does happen eventually, and we'll see what does happen. But it's good to get some more insight on Pham, as he is clearly the best free agent still available, and it's very interesting that he has not landed a spot yet. After that, we have Juan Soto stuff with the Padres. Feels like so long ago that he was on the Padres, doesn't it? According to him, Soto was very open to extension talks with the Padres, and late owner Peter Seidler, who owned the Padres, of course, had consistent good talks with Scott Boras and Juan Soto about a long-term extension to play as the rest of his career in San Diego. Now, Heyman seems to hint that it probably would have happened if Seidler did not unfortunately pass away, which is really, really unfortunate. I mean, Seidler was such a baseball lifer, a guy who everyone respected, tried making a smaller market team into a bigger market team, which really worked out as well. So it is unfortunate that Seidler did pass away, of course, and it is now making up the baseball side. I mean, what could have happened? What would have happened if he, did not unfortunately pass away and stayed alive and did extend Soto? I think that would have been an interesting situation, and would have caused a lot of different things around baseball. I think would have caused a big butterfly effect. So it's interesting to think about. Just another thing of those what ifs in sports. So kind of a tragic one because of the passing away, but was a great man, and obviously will be remembered in baseball circles as a great owner and a guy who definitely wanted to win. Nowadays, with all these owners who have been cheap, it was nice to have one like Seidler who would consistently spend money to get a winning product on the field. So yeah, he will be missed, and it is unfortunate that they could not get the Soto extension done for the Padres before his unfortunate passing. Going off to a more lighter topic, I guess, than that, the Mets have DFA'd reliever Michael Tonkin to get the Julio Teheran contract on their books, to get him on the roster. Julio Teheran, I should say. Now, Tonkin was supposed to be a big part of the Mets bullpen this year, and I'm kind of surprised they DFA'd him this early, but he had blown 2 games back-to-back to the Tigers and not really shown much, was really, really bad, and was not an expensive contract, so it made sense to move on already, even though it was super early. So kind of surprising, but not really at the same time. So yeah, definitely a quick trigger by David Stearns here, and I like that about him. I think that's a good sign, and good for him that he wasn't afraid to DFA a guy he already added this early. So yeah. Brandon Nimmo is apparently dealing with some hamstring tightness, which I just found out about a few minutes ago. That is why he is out of the lineup today. We thought it was because he just came off a doubleheader, which could have been true, but also the hamstring tightness definitely has something to do with it. So, yeah, doesn't seem to be too worried. Seems like a day-to-day thing, but never something you want, especially with how the Mets have been going over these past games or so. So, we'll keep a lookout for that, and if it becomes more serious, I'll let you know. Games going on currently in the league. We have Dodgers-Cubs, which is extremely high scoring at 9-5. So that's been insane. I mean, Ohtani just hit his second home run as a Dodger, so nice start for him there. Obviously, very high scoring. I mean, Bobby Miller was awful, 1 2/3 innings, giving up 5 earned runs. And for the Cubs, Kyle Hendricks went in for 4 innings and gave up 5 earned runs. So pitching was awful today, and that's why it's been high scoring. So 2 good teams facing off. Cubs, of course, winning 9-5 in their home ballpark. We'll see how they do here. Rays, Rockies, currently 1-0 in the Rockies home opener, I believe. Isaac Paredes hit an RBI single to open the scoring up in the top of the first. So, yeah, nice game there. Pirates, Orioles in the bottom of the first, 0-0 so far. And Padres, Giants are just getting started here. So those are the games that are currently happening. And we'll see if anything happens and if anything exciting happens as the day goes on. Of course, I won't be on stream, but I'll be watching them, and hopefully you guys will as well. These are exciting games. So, yeah. Also, the Yankees, of course, lost today to the Blue Jays, but we talked about that before, so I didn't think it was necessary to talk about it again. But, yeah, that was our final segment of the day, talking about some general news around the league, just some stories I wanted to touch on. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to follow us anywhere to get that. You can get content and updates: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you again for watching. It is really appreciated. Make sure to subscribe, donate as well. Hit the post notification bell when you do subscribe. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you on Monday, and we'll see what baseball throws at us then. Bye. Thanks.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go